Thanks. My name's Ron Edwards, manager of Big Sky Water and Sewer. I need to figure out a way to get Mike Richter's picture in my presentation, but I don't have that yet. I get the task of talking about a great dinner time subject being wastewater. How many folks do we have that live in Big Sky here in the audience? Okay, maybe a third. That's interesting. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what our district is and what we do in terms of just wastewater collection and treatment, and then looking forward, some of the engineering we've done looking at our capacity as we go in time. We've got 4 service areas, the Mountain Meadow, Lone Moose Meadows, and Spanish Peaks, that are all within our district boundary. And geographically, that looks like this. The red line is our district boundary. Those areas outside of that are not. Moonlight Basin in the upper part of the screen, they have their own water and wastewater plant. Yellowstone Club has their own water system, and they're actually bringing a new wastewater treatment plant online. The canyon is all well and septic. So when you look at what's around us, we're actually a pretty small entity in the middle of the developments here in Big Sky. So our sewer system runs from the very top of Cascade up in section 19. Those green dots are manholes, the green lines running down what we call the poop chute past Lone Moose Meadows into the meadow area of Big Sky, and then the treatment plant, which is at the very east end of our system. As you drive up to Big Sky, you pass it on the right, you see those large storage ponds and Ace Hardware. Our plant's across the Middle Fork from the new hardware store. Our customer base, we have 2,600 customers. We estimate we're about 45% built out. The biggest variable we have going for us is the fact that people do not live here year-round. So we get the benefit of having actually more capacity available because people are not here half the year. We do our permitting using single-family equivalents, which is just a measure of the size and scale of a project that's connecting to us. We look at the square footage in the commercial projects. We look at the square footage in a single-family home and a condominium unit as we permit that. So we track those over time, and we've been tracking our permits and single-family equivalents back into the 90s. So this is a graph that shows permits going back to 1990. We had about 1,500 SFEs, or single-family equivalents, connected to our system back then, and we've grown to over 5,200 at this point. So what that looks like in terms of growth, since 1996, we've averaged 5%, which we've had some years where we were in double-digit growth numbers, and we've had some years back in the recession years where we were less than 2% growth. But overall, we've had healthy growth here in Big Sky. This is just in our district. You know, the other parts around us have grown differently. The club certainly has maybe even a steeper growth curve than we do. So now we'll focus on wastewater capacity. How are we going to manage and deal with this growth that's happening going forward in time? So we'll look at the different capacities we've got: treatment, disposal, and storage. A little bit about how things work. 100% of the wastewater flow comes to the storage ponds. They cross over to the treatment plant, shown by those red arrows to the north there. We treat the water, comes back over to these storage ponds, goes through a tertiary filter, and then we hold the water till summer. So this time of year, the ponds are empty. We're filling them up as we go into ski season. and then we'll start irrigating in the summer months 2 golf courses. And we have 2 courses available for this, the Meadow Village course in Big Sky and the Yellowstone Club golf course, which is 7 miles away. And there's a 3rd course that's going to be coming online, and that's Spanish Peaks. They're going to be building storage and lines connecting their golf course. So we'll have the ability to dispose of water on Spanish Peaks as well. This is a shot of our treatment plant. That was built in 2004. It has a treatment capacity of 600,000 gallons a day. Our current flow is about 400,000 gallons a day. So we're in pretty good shape with the plant. We are going to get into an expansion phase here where we're going to be adding a 3rd basin to the plant. Our peak day is about 700,000 gallons a day, and that'll happen New Year's Eve, pretty much every year. That shows our pond storage capacities here in the meadow. It's about a little less than 90 million gallons. That's the pipeline going up to the Yellowstone Club. We pump it over 2,000 feet vertically. We have 2 booster stations, very expensive process to move water up there. The biggest funnel or constraint we've got is our disposal. And we've got about 140 million gallons, 120 to 140, depending on what engineering you look at, that we can put on the golf course here in the meadow. That's based on the wettest year in 10. So what do you do in the wettest year in 50? We need options to get rid of treated water. The biggest issue is disposal, and we've done a lot of engineering reports, a lot of studies looking at options for disposing of water here. That's a very telling graph right there. Kristen alluded to this in her discussion, but that yellow line kind of represents where we start reaching the limits of what we currently have available for disposal. We've done studies, the resorts around us have also done studies. This is a graph that came out of a study that was done looking at not just our district, but all the developments around us, the Club, Moonlight, Big Sky, Water and Sewer. And the takeaway from this is that there's a shortage that is predicted as we build out over time. So what we do with that shortage is a big part of the task of this effort we're in right now, is looking at those options, trying to develop support and a consensus, if that's possible, as to how we're going to deal with that going forward. So these are options that have been identified in various engineering reports. We could expand irrigation. You can go to groundwater discharge. You can build big engineered drain fields. Those require a discharge permit. You could do snowmaking. That requires a surface discharge permit. Stream is obvious. That requires a discharge permit. Smaller decentralized treatments. I'm not a big proponent of seeing treatment plants built all over Big Sky, but you could decentralize some of this where you've got development. You could build a small plant. I'm done. Okay. You need to stand right next to me. Combinations of all of the above, and there may be other options that we haven't looked at, and we're willing to look at that as we work on this project. These are a list of all the studies that are available on our website. We've spent a lot of time, money, and effort doing a lot of studies here. These date back to the 90s, looking at all these issues. So I think I'm done. I am done.